Yes, my friends, and welcome back to today's player ratings video after that disappointing and unexpected, humbling defeat against West Ham away from home today. Not trying to waste no more time with this. I want to dissect the performances we saw today, starting from goalkeeper to the attack, and starting with Robert Sanchez. There was like a few okay saves that he made in the game. He wasn't tested too much. You like to think to yourself in like big moments like maybe Antonio's goal, could he have done better? But a part of me feels like Antonio's shot was just that good. It was hit that hard, that early, that most goalkeepers or no goalkeepers are really saving that, to be fair with you. Obviously, penalty shootouts are penalty shootouts. It's going to be like a bit of a lottery draw to begin with. I felt like from corners, his claims were good. I feel a bit of safety when Sanchez is helping us defend set pieces to keep things real with you. But obviously, we conceded goals today. I'm going to give this guy a 6 out of 10 rating. Now, moving on to Axel DISASI. It really was a game of two halves. And I have to say that as the game was ending, this guy really had a bit of a nightmare of a performance. And I feel like when you play the style of football we play, you need to rely upon your defender to win their duels, because you give hope to that West Ham counter-attack whenever you keep backing off the attacking player, whenever they can skip past you to create shots too. And I feel like he was really struggling against Antonio at times. I feel like Antonio was able to like win a few second balls, headers in the air as well too. Obviously, he's still new to the Premier League. We cannot forget that. I'm not here to say this guy is an absolute flop. We have to keep things with perspective at this point in time, but it was definitely like a reality check for this guy, and he's not like completely perfect yet to Premier League football, but as time goes on, he has the qualities, and I feel like his passing today was absolutely on point. The line-breaking passes were fun. The passes he was finding to Malo Gusto wide on the right-hand side, he like pins and punches these balls with so much precision and skill. But again, you're here to defend, right? And I feel like, you know, West Ham had more joy in that second half, and DISASI kind of felt the weight of that West Ham swarm in that sense. So I'm not going to lie, I wasn't pleased with him, and I felt like he could have definitely given us more of a platform. I'm going to give DISASI a 5 out of 10. Now, moving on to Thiago Silva, I feel like he didn't really do much wrong today. One thing I liked about Silva was that, you know, as the game was like going on, he was really like marshalling Antonio. So like, for example, he would follow Antonio right to the halfway line to win the aerial ball. I felt like his passing between the lines is always classy. It's always good. But one thing I don't necessarily see all the time is necessarily that communication between his defenders. Now, to give, you know, a bit of like understanding to Silva, he's playing alongside a completely different back line in that sense. But I felt like maybe, you know, I want to see a little bit more in this game. And I guess for them reasons, man, I'm going to give Silva like a solid 6. Like, not awful, just standards. And I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but can you blame me? Like, I'm still feeling the disappointment of the defeat today. And I guess, obviously, Levi Cole, I'm going to have to give a very fair rating to him. And I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Now, a lot of people are complaining about this back three we're using, but this is no traditional back three that we're used to. Like, Levi Cole gets the players like a fullback, really. Like, we do become more of a back four. Like, we do spread really wide. Ciro pushes all the way up. And there were some nice times when Cole was able to like make that overlap on the left-hand side, or like be proactive and like really pin West Ham back. And normally, all our good stuff normally came, especially in that first half, when Cole and DISASI and the rest of the defenders were like in West Ham's half. And Cole played the pass to find Raheem Sterling, which then led to, you know, the penalty, which he won, which Enzo missed, unfortunately. And in that ball playing regards, I felt like Cole gave us like a lot of like quick passes down that left hand side that was helping us play through West Ham's like press in the flanks, right? But I'd have to say too, one thing I'm noticing is that our defenders are like backing off their man a bit too much. I just feel like you got to get in there tight. And obviously the way that he was kind of like brushed off a bit easily by Michael Antonio, take your man down. Like, don't allow West Ham, who only score from counter attacks and set pieces, to have an advantage against you in that moment. So I think like a 6 out of 10 is fair. Some good moments, but then again, could have stepped up a bit more in that second half, and we needed our defense, to be fair with you. So to move on further forwards, I thought Malo Gusto had a good game today. I'm going to give Gusto a 7 out of 10. I think that's going to be because of like his efficiency and output out wide. Like, he was constantly an overlapping option. He was really intelligent when it came to like inverting in field, right? And he actually uses his left foot quite a lot. So like if Reece James, for example, will like use the outside of his boot to like, you know, turn back into midfield, Gusto can just open his body up and use his left foot, and he's good there. I thought some of his crosses was dangerous. You know, maybe as the game is going on, I'm feeling the pressure. I'm like, bro, just like play these crosses a bit earlier and a bit faster, right? But in general, like his 1v1 defending was good. And I think in terms of all our defenders, Gusto was on point in those regards. Like Benrahma didn't get past him, and that one time he did, Gusto, superb sliding tackle to come in there and reclaim it back. So now that Reece James is out, I think Gusto gave a very good account of himself in like his first proper full debut. So he gets a lot of credit there, in my opinion. Deserves a 7 out of 10. But now we move on to Mr. Enzo Fernandez. And to be fair with you, I'm going to score him a 7. And obviously the reason why his rating comes down is for that penalty miss. Now, you know what? I definitely get what everyone's saying right now. Like, how's this guy taking the penalties? Like, why did he even take that? Why did Sterling or Jackson not take the penalty instead? I don't, if we're being honest, I know we're still feeling the emotion of the game, but can any of us really, like, truthfully be like, okay, Enzo isn't good enough? Because it's the first time we've seen him do that. It could just be a one-off mistake. Like, he is a big game player, right? And I have to say that, especially in that first, like, 60 minutes, like, everything good we did, Enzo was at the heart of. I mean, like, this guy, when he's able to, like, receive them passes on the half turn in behind West Ham's midfield lines, constantly creating attacks, constantly encouraging guys to move. A few times, some of his like ambitious balls over the top wasn't necessarily finding his man all the time, but it's about the principle of Enzo's play today. And you know, I think this guy's going to be an absolute star in the system once like all these new signings get used to playing together more. Because listen, like this is their second game. A lot of these guys are new to the Prem. Like, we can't act as if like this team has been playing together for a few months now, where I could be a bit more critical. But in general, even though that penalty miss came at the wrong time and definitely changed the trajectory of this game, because against West Ham, you have to take the lead against them, it's obvious. But in general, his overall performance, again, I can't knock it down fully because he was on point. And another guy who was on point, who has to get a bit more credit in this fan base, Conor Gallagher. Like, this guy was an engine in our midfield. Every time we were able to push and pin West Ham back, Gallagher was coming out from nowhere, winning a slide tackle, winning an interception, winning a second ball, unrelenting pressing. You know what I mean? And on top of that too, look how quickly he moved the ball. 1 touch, 2 touch. That's what I want to see in top midfield players playing at this level. He had a great shot that tested, you know, their keeper in the game as well too. And I kind of feel like, not going to lie, obviously, when he did go off, and when we kind of changed the system a little bit to bring on Caicedo, you know, we didn't necessarily move the ball the same way. And I think Conor gets a lot of credit playing alongside Enzo recently, and he definitely deserves this player rating. And I would have given him a 7.5, but 7 I think is fair. And obviously moving on to Ben Chilwell, you guys might not agree, but again, it's a little similar to Gusto, but I have to say Ben was actually decent. Like, this is what I mean by this weird-ass game. Like, we lost the game in moments today. We didn't lose the game because we were poor overall. We lost it in 1 or 2 key moments which came from certain errors, right? But I have to say that Ben is playing this really interesting role as like this, you know, all-encompassing left-sided guy who can like get further forward. Like, whenever he's in the books, like, you know that Ben makes things happen. He does make things happen. Like, when he's challenging for like crosses in the books too, he's really hard to stop. Like, his timing is really good. Like, the constant overlaps too. Like, when he was really creating West Ham a lot of damage, that's because Ben Chilwell was doing his job on that left-hand side, pinning guys back, stretching defenses, you know, moving in field when he has to. And I've been impressed by his starts of the season so far. And it might be a bit controversial to you guys. He wasn't really at fault for anything in this game today. And yeah, I think it was a good vice-captain or captain performance from him today. So moving on now to probably the star player of the whole game, even though we lost 3-1 today. For sure, that is Raheem Sterling, one of his best performances we've seen. The guy was unrelenting. A very high amount of dribbles and duels. A high amount of dribbles won in this game today. And what I loved was how proactive and positive Sterling was, because maybe last season he receives a pass and he releases it to a teammate or he plays backwards, but every time like he drops into one of those holes in the half spaces or between the lines, instantly, half turn, boom, attack the space. And that right channel there, which you guys can see, he was constantly a thorn down that West Ham side, completely stretching them open. No one can get close to him from like a standing position. The instant acceleration. That's the Raheem Sterling I want to see more of. And like, he's a high volume player, so you won't get everything right. But because he constantly receives in amazing positions, like he can create a good opportunity eventually. And he did. His penalty should have led to a goal, and that would have been an assist. And of course, he created another unbelievable moment as the second half was ending, which both Carnes and Jackson missed as well too. But again, he gave us a breath of fresh air. He was the outlet from the right-hand side, and he helped create the chances. The few ones that we did create, I thought Sterling was absolutely on point today, and he deserves credit. And another guy on point today too, I'm going to have to give like a good rating to, of course, is Carney Chukwuemeka. Now, I'm not going to lie, I've gone for 8. And I feel like with my ratings, I got to do like decimal points to make it more accurate, because it would be like a high 7, but this is like a low 8 if I'm taking like cues from Anthony Fantana. But Carnes today, and Pochettino was right, we look different without him. And thus this guy's tech, like he needs to get more credit for that. Like it's like Sterling too, he finds these really good positions, and like these little combo plays on the left hand side where he was like playing Ben Jordan behind a lot of times, or you know, he's doing a 1-2 alongside a Gallagher or a 1-2 alongside Jackson, and he just speeds the tempo of our game up whilst bringing quality in the final third. The guy deserves tons of credit for how strong he is at leading the press from the front now, which is like a big evolution from Carnes from last season. And the goal he took to is like a season type of goal, because like a younger player, they would take an extra touch, which he has done at times, but this time he perfectly receives outside the boot, shimmies inside, and first time shot that curls round. And I have to say that this guy's ability in tight areas, you know, the ball's kind of glued to his feet. He makes a lot of things happen, this kid, and really impressive performance. And of course, the end things, again, a bit harsh. I would give this guy like a low 7 or a high 6, and that's Nico Jackson. Now, I say it's a bit harsh because it wasn't like he was getting tons of opportunities fashioned for him, and he did do good things in terms of his close control. Whenever he was dropping deeper to receive the ball as well too, guys was making runs off him. And again, West Ham had no one to really mark, and like when we had our best half in that first half with how unrelenting we are with like playing forward and our pressure, I thought Jackson was definitely key to those things. Yeah, maybe could he have done better with the chance, but missing that shot in the end for sure. There was another opportunity too, which he could have connected a bit better in with a header, which again, it got underneath him, but he caused lots of issues to West Ham because they might have expected to be playing a physical aerial game that Jackson isn't about. And this guy's a very intelligent, techie type of striker, and I'm hoping his goal comes against Luton tomorrow. But them are the final few things, my guys. I'll give Pochettino a 7. People might criticize the lineup. You're being reactionary. There's a reason why Caicedo rightfully didn't start right, for a reason, because he isn't ready. He's barely played any games too. And obviously, you know, we have to stick with a team at this point in time that is probably the strongest we have, which is quite clear once this game ended. I thought the football we played was good, and I think it was more the players that messed things up compared to the manager, who made the subs at the right time, who set us up at the right time, and players have to improve those in-game details. It's that simple for me. To move on now to Mudryk, I'm going to give this guy a 5, and you know, it wasn't the ideal game. I think Pochettino would have brought him on if we were leading and the game was open up. Again, Mudryk wasn't awful, but it's just like we as a team played badly. And because we as a team played badly, everyone will lose score ratings for that naturally. And maybe that chance that Sterling made that cross inside the box, right? He could have connected a bit better. I felt like there wasn't enough conviction behind his shot then with that moment. A few times, little step overs to put a cross inside the box, but the delivery wasn't that great from him. And this is what was frustrating me a bit in this game today. But I'm not writing this guy off. There's still more to come. Again, Noni, I'm going to give him a 5. Like, he didn't have much game time. He had one shot which I thought was about to deflect into the goal. Very unfortunate, but I feel like times two, again, he's only just come back. This is why I'm not harsh, but I'm going to just judge him on this game. He could have like cut inside to take 1 or 2 shots a bit more, and he got dispossessed near the end. But again, his first game back, so don't be too harsh on him. And Caicedo is the same principle, man. His first game in how long? He's had you know, he stopped playing preseason games in the end. He hasn't been playing for Brighton recently. He's been on strike, right? And naturally, this is what's set to happen when you haven't played. So you look kind of rusty. You know, Pochettino, I understand why he brought him on, because we were behind. So you have to take those risks. I ain't going to use that against him. Of course, you know, he lost a few duels. He wasn't winning the second balls like Connor was doing earlier. He gave away a cheap penalty at the end, very rash. And, you know, I feel like as Caicedo's season goes on, we'll forget about this game. But this was like a rude awakening that he isn't fully ready. And maybe this is why guys like Lavia and Caicedo, of course, are getting prepared more for like the game versus Luton than today. So my friends, on that note, that is the player ratings. Share your thoughts and opinions. What ratings would you give? Who was your winners and losers today? And without wasting any more time, I'm Nini FC.